छैन त्यहाँ खोइ DRS छैन यहाँ बक्स गेमिङ रे
यसले के हुन्छ माइन्ड फ्रेश हुन्छ होला
Nepal especially out of Vampire Esports. It's those teams at the bottom that are going to be playing that spoiler role, right? For the teams at the top. For the teams that are going to be working to try to get those points, that man's just taking a nap. He's waiting. He's waiting patiently. And he's also thinking about, okay, which team from the bottom, Vampire Esports, Fireflux, maybe influence him. They're going to decide to wake up at least one game, take some points that are more from the teams at the top, and it's going to make it even tighter.
I feel bad. We have these our teams to watch every single time. We need like 15 teams to watch. We need more slots to be able to show the teams you want to see before.
It's literally every single team.
1.5 million.
Talking about teams and U7. A7 has been really good, and I'm especially excited going into the next game because, well, they are very close to making to the very top as well. Just 50 points difference between them and the first place. Let's head up to the casters because we are going into the next match of the PMGC Grand Final. The last one's unfortunately John and Black.
PMWL त वर्ल्ड लिग थियो के वर्ल्डमा धेरै पैसा थियो PMGC मा कमै रहेछ अब फेरि PMWL फेरि खेल्छ नि तिनीहरु अब कहाँ हुने
He has been so fantastic here. They don't have to leave. Happy days. But yeah, we will be finishing PMGC 2022 very soon. First, we will have to crown a victor. That game was extremely important for a couple of teams, particularly DRS, able to get a little bit far into that one. But at least they did 2022 very soon. First, we will have to crown a victor. That game was extremely important for a couple of teams, particularly DRS, able to get a little bit far into that one. But at least they did get some elimination points, especially versus Inco. But for 4 AM, very important how far they got. I mean, with a very odd rotation, they were right on the eastern side of the map, went to docks, rotated round through the water. It worked out quite well for them. I think it was a 4th place in the end that they were able to achieve, they were able to pick up, which is very good stuff. But that means that they are still in the running now. S2G have performed their little hearts out. I'll give them that. I think they've done really well at this event. I think that they've played a very dominant game. It feels like they're in some very good priority positions. They fight for these priority positions. They take them comfortably. And I think that S2G can definitely take it all the way at this rate. And for Turkey, this would be a monumental achievement for them should they pick up the grand title of PMGC 2022 champions. However, all that remains to be seen as we head into match 4 of Erangel.
Plane path, very heavy south lean here from Novo to the middle of the west coast. Just a little bit north of Quarry. So a deep cut there, difficult to get to. Places like Severny is going to be very, very inaccessible. So T2K might go for a backup drop. Last time we saw a plane path, actually fairly similar to this. We had a northern circle on the back of it, and nobody went to C block. So I'm going to be interested to see if a team adapts to that information, or if more than one team adapts to that information.
Again, I don't think you'll see anyone going to C block on Sosnovka. I genuinely don't see it happening. I think most teams are prioritizing getting these central spots on the circle, and that means being up towards that northern side.
There you go.
I think a change like that would mean that you are in contention with Stalwart crossing these bridges. Those kind of late challenges a bit more difficult. I think everyone just realizes, look, we're just going to allow Stalwart to have it. There's no point us clashing with Stalwart at this point in the game. It's not really a chance we want to take, especially with Stalwart playing much better today as well. That's one of the things that you have to watch out for, is which team's on top, which team's looking a little hot today. And I think Stalwart's one of the, in terms of a team fighting out west, one of the top out there, that is for sure. Looking at a lot of the other teams dropping out. Vampire coming off the back of a big win there over on Sandhawk. I think that is our elimination lead for the entirety of PM North. George, especially with the west.
BBR की वेल गाड़ी में
गाड़ी में लेर गइरा गाड़ी में
Fluence came in close to
Lahate.
Kangzov Koyovsky there as well, but
गाड़ी में गयो
he's too slick with it.
गाडी में बसे त हुन्छ
Might be able to get in the vehicle.
Idea.
It's just wasting time until there can be some backup. There can be some backup from the rest of the squad. You can see there is a bike. Danger might be going the wrong way if he heads towards Sky Only. There's more bullets to worry about, I'm sure. Keeping them separated and actually regrouped up so it does not get pushed into danger, into the line of fire. Unlike Vitaly and Inko, who's a player really good news for all those teams around. They might lose a second as well. But then Ebete jumps into the vehicle and hightails it out of there.
Once again, this issue is coming through for Inko without...
They're still in the air.
We're still in the air as well. Without a set and fair playing path, Inko really struggles right off the bat. Because they don't have that set drop spot like I was saying before, when everyone has a fair place to land, you aren't seeing people dropping in random locations. But when this happens, Inko doesn't have those little areas that are free that they can start to trash loot in and move to the center quite quickly. They have to drop in areas where other teams are. I don't think they are the best early game team fighters. So for Inko, this is really bad news having these two sort playing paths matches in a row. Right now 137 points in third place, tied up with DRS. In fact, after losing one player, it might even be Inko slipping even further down the leaderboard at the moment.
You cannot let these opportunities pass. But Inko's record is undeniable here. Over an 80% top 5 rating. I mean, 400 men over 70 is incredible. To be that consistent from Inko is something else indeed. IHC, though, clashing with T2K. Shotguns and pistols at dawn of the game leave both teams a little bit hampered and harried. IHC, though, managed to keep everybody alive, and that is a big bonus against Rig and Jane, who did go down for T2K.
4AM also close by in this area, John. They do have weapons. They do have things to play around with. A UMP, a micro Uzi 2, demo down the way, and it looks like 4AM is just going to pick up the vehicles and head back out. Try and meet back up again with Svan over towards North George, waiting for this engagement to conclude. Now IHC moves further down towards South George. The road there for him becomes a little bit more easy. Central position, central spot. Central spot is great. Alter Ego also towards the center of the map too, so Rozok is looking good for them. Inko, on the other hand, had to move towards Yaz at the moment, which is a little bit more awkward, John.
Going a little bit further north on the three-player rotation. DRS on the southeast side, just leaving Milton now. DRS tied right now with Inko, 137 apiece. Alpha 7, 128. Godlike Stalwart, 123. It's a top 6 race at this stage for me. Blank, we have 2 matches remaining. There is always the outside possibility of a Nova standout performance, and Wolves, who have put themselves in the conversation, and we have to mention Alter Ego, of course, just a little bit behind them, but that possibility is shrinking fast. You need to start to rack up eliminations now if you want those things to come through.
Exactly. Alter Ego on 1, none, 10 and 2. Very good scoring for them so far. And I mean, look, up towards 7th place, they're only 5 points behind. It really is 6th to first place at the moment, which is a bit more difficult to get into. I think top 8 is a really good result, whatever team you are. Top 8 in PMGC means you're in the top 10 of the world. You're not 10th place in the world, which is kind of not what you want to say, but you're in that top 10 of the world. So getting into top 8 is a really good goal for a lot of these teams. Vampire, unfortunately, after that last game, even though they want to be in that top 8, that huge chicken dinner has only dragged them out of 16th place by 3 points.
DRS take control of the north side of Potato Hill, but the west is threatened by Wolves. They'll need to light the torches and ward them off on the west edge, but they're just staying grouped up for now. Not taking too many risks. It's slap bang in the center of the circle, and there is room for 2 teams on the top of Potato Hill. But if they're going to turn their attention their way, certainly if they're going to pop shots like that, maybe that will spook DRS into going for an engagement over the top.
Inko takes themselves out of the picture. They're going to head up all the way towards that northern side of the map. I don't think we're going to see too much out of this team and towards that end game. I think that's going to be the killer for them because they are not playing
T2K
like they are a champion team, right? That is the issue for Inco, is that they play to survive, they play to get big points, but when you get towards those last 3 games, you have to play like that championship depends on it. I think for Inco, they are relying on other teams doing badly as opposed to themselves taking it home for themselves.
And you compare that to teams like S2G, to DRS, I think, one of the very proactive teams in this lobby. And you've got to wonder if they've got the legs to make this one work. Inco, a surprise from the Brazilian region to be such a hot contender in this one. Alpha 7, maybe a little bit less of a surprise, but still very far up there. And Brazil will be proud no matter what the result at the end of these 2 matches.
Absolutely. It's a good result no matter what happens. Wolves just sending off these warning shots, letting everyone know that this territory is already claimed. A good thing to do this early in the game as well, especially towards Potato Hill, which is such a massive landmark when it comes to rotations. I think you certainly need to be on the ball with it, or at least letting other teams know that this is taken. DRS up towards that eastern side certainly is going to try and move towards that west. This is the first time in a while we've seen DRS get so close towards the center of the circle so early, and I think that's purely based off the fact that they haven't had to play edge here. They were already in a location to play towards that center, and I respect that from DRS. If they can play center and they're in a position to do it, go for it.
T2K on the north side, south of Inco as the circle on the south coast. I say south coast, sorry, south side of the river. On towards Pachinki. Slap bang in the middle of this next zone. Nova maybe looking to move into very powerful positions on the north side of Pachinki. If they want to get some big games here, this is where Nova can really get themselves in a central position, playing on that church on the northwest side. They're very split right now, though. And a long line out from Jimmy and Order leaves themselves potentially
vulnerable to some threats coming in from that northern side, especially S2G. Influence Kevin also coming through from school side. I think Nova would love to get down towards where Wolves are currently playing as a strong position of Pachinki to be in. Vampire Esports also down towards that southwest side, towards those hills. 4AM has to make the cross over the island bridge. S2G is waiting. The direct competitors for that first place spot would be 4AM. They've spotted now actually S2G waiting on the other side. They instead intend to just bucket out of there and head up towards ruins.
Will cross and potentially come into conflict with IHC. S2G are taking shots from across the way. I think that's Influence Kevin actually coming on through into the engagement, but Kelsey is humbling them somewhat. S2G don't even take a knock in response. That is powerful stuff coming through. A tonic for the nerves for S2G to keep them nice and safe.
4AM, take a couple of shots coming from IHC. It's from Everest side. Slightly worried about that. However, IHC still have to move. 4AM do make their way past them easily enough. Influence came in, passed their way over Rozok, get themselves nice and deep in towards this circle. A lot of teams already here. In fact, most teams already in this circle. One of the most central circles we've seen in PUBG Mobile in a long time, actually, John.
It hasn't been super common to see the circles finish in Pachinki, so
yeah,
could potentially be a nice little change back to something that we've seen a lot from before.
Yeah.
Seen, I think, about 3-4 northern circles on the trot.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of northern circles so far. And for Inco, who intended to kind of take themselves out of the picture with T2K, once again, run down by AHC. I mean, talk about taking out the picture. That's T2K getting absolutely painted over there.
Just Legend now on the northern shore to cross in for T2K. Out in the blue zone as well, so severely diminished, and T2K's run might be finished now. With this game in hand, they might have had a chance. They were on 101 point, I think, at the start of the game. But we are going to see teams start to fully drop out now. anyone below 100 points at this stage will not be making it to the champion spot.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough road ahead if you want to make it towards that champion spot, and if you're behind by this much. I think 7th place downwards is still difficult. That requires you to have a chicken dinner on top of a chicken dinner, and then a very good game to finish out with. It's unlikely. 33 Svan though. Ooh, that is real bad news. That's S2G. An absolute winner of a decision for them. However, Inko, Hamzy G, right over the side. A nade as well could spell doom for Inko.
Well placed, and they're done for. Cooks it, but it's a little bit long. Nenebete low has backup from Razy, who moves up that ridge line. Nicely found, and look, Nova are going to light them up from the back as well. Jimmy has a good angle into the vehicles. They try and throw around the edge. Nenebete knows they need to get out of there. But Becca Squash left standing for Inko. And they have it all come crumbling down around their ears. S2G picking up those points is almost a worst-case scenario for them. Absolutely for Inko. And they need to play. Life they're ever going to have. It's too safe. It's too cautious. Anything but cautious, and why not? You got to rip it towards the end. With 2 more matches to play, they want to put some numbers on the board. We've seen that they are capable of chicken dinners. They've already managed to accrue 2 over the 16 matches, well, the 15 that we finished. The 16th match now on the cards. 3 eliminations this game, tying it up with IHC and S2G, both of whom also have 3.
4 AM, down to just 3 players. Fireflux in 16th place down towards their south side. Squash finds himself a little bit of safety. And Alpha 7 fairly central. Nova split around them. Again, for Alpha 7, things aren't over yet. Still a good chance with 3 more matches to go now. Nothing is out of the picture for at least the top 5.
The headshot hills on the northern side making up a massive swathe of the circle. And S2G control it. Going to be very difficult for anyone to move into it as well. With 4 AM on that west side, you can't really swing through without taking a fight. And those 3 players that remain for them will be a strong barrier to move. However, the circle gives them some semblance of safety for the rest of the lobby. And moves down towards Pachinki yet again. Nova on a 2-2 split, looking to regroup now. Look at that, Order and Jimmy sailing across.
It's a really good regroup. Great timing for it. Squash also happy about this one from Inko. Will just be about in. 4AM may try and hold out against S2G, understanding they'll have to pass it along. Quite open ground to get towards the circle. They could swing all the way towards that eastern side, but it's very close. It's a difficult ending. This Pachinki, a lot of fielded area, a lot of awkward buildings to play. Influence Kevin finding that out first hand. All these windows.
down.
Spelling doom for Influence Kemin. 1 player now remaining. Federal does manage to get the first knock. A flush potentially coming through as well. Looking for a res. Slows down any aggression. Pick feet. 4 Wolves will be able to get the first aid off. Nade cooking now. Underarm switches back to over. And a nade into the side room would be the end of plenty a player on Influence Kemin, but instead just gets the double flush, and there's the last as well. As it does get picked away, a 3rd party from GeekFam.
A real shocking performance from Influence Kemin. Not in the sense of it being bad, but in the sense of it's so surprising to see them in 13th place. I thought that this would be the Brazilian team. Fortunately, they've just not found their footing here in the PMGC 2022 Grand Finals. Ending for them as well. I think at 96 points, 1 elimination, only 2 matches to go. All but over now to try and get towards that top 5 at least. Maybe some redemption in a top 8 potential.
4 Angry Men with some rooftops to play around and S2G to slow. So important for them to do so as much damage as they can. Preferably take them out entirely. Fnatic takes a little bit too much damage and takes the knee for it. Rules crashes into the side of the entrance there. There's a knock going their way and he swivels around and somehow plays it around the edge of the smoke. Completely destroys Alter Ego. 15th place.
Trying to hope that Alter Ego had left a grenade behind there. Thought he was cooking one. 4am though, taking massive damage from Squash alone of all people. A good nade over the top, but now 4am down to just 2 players at the hands of Squash, helping out S2G in a way. And they're going to rock up on this one, taking no chances. This is the perfect opportunity for them to take out the majority of their competition.
This is absolutely huge. A double roll coming through from S2G. We've seen them do this before, and it has gone pear-shaped several times. But they're on the chase now. The last player for Angry Men is taken down, and their closest rival eliminated. DRS now, a big threat for them. 1 player of theirs has fallen already. 3 players active for DRS, 4 on Alpha 7, 4 on Godlike Stalwart further behind.
All 4M can hope for now is for S2G to go out early, but the way they're playing, the finesse of it, the way that they're just flowing through these hillsides, taking fights and making sure no one can step to them, it doesn't seem likely. S2G are feeling more and more like a champion as the matches go on.
Finish
edge of the next circle S2G have been taking some pretty tricky fights, to be fair, with teams that are main competitors for them. Nova might be their next challenge, but will it prove to be too much?
Players outside the blue to pick up vehicles left behind. Smart move from S2G. Trying to use as many vehicles as possible because they know the run ahead of them is going to be disgustingly hard. The hit, having as many vehicles or as many lives are saved, because I think that they know there are going to be casualties going into the circle. It would be amazing if 100% of the squad made it through. Is it likely? Not really, no.
Nova moved away from the hilltop that they were occupying for a long time. The church position overlooking Pachinki is currently available, and S2G might be the ones to try and take control of it. Vampire a little bit too far south and not wanting to step too far in. S2G are worried there's a team in there already, and why wouldn't you be? It's a seemingly valuable position that should have an
opportunity. Late game there, because they were playing a split, and they are so strong at holding on to position. So you're right, for S2G, this is almost certainly position that has been taken up in church. So they all just lie down underneath it, expecting to be shot at any second. Fireflux, send in.
Vampire trying to slow them down from the south side, and Buriram will be the doorstop for them. That's low, but back to the building. Solus has his teammate swept away from him. Ketch falls as well to shots across the way. Vampire are still chiming into it. Only 1 player now standing, Solus on the ground floor. They think he might be upstairs, but he's a little bit lower than that. They'll hear the footsteps now, though, and they'll know he's still in here. Kengzo watching the outside, and Solus holding the door frame, waiting for someone to make a mistake here on Buriram.
Hold on. Buriram comes down the stairs, but it's Tiger there moving through, and Fireflux continue to have not the greatest of tournaments here in the PMGC, 16th place. Vampire But again, just looking at this leaderboard, 87 points to 8th place. You know, it is only 19 points away. It is 1 game. So everyone's really done very well during this PMGC. Everyone's put up points. There's not a single team that I think has been dead in the water over here in the PMGC.
S2G found out that the church was free and will be the ones taking it, but you're right, the points totals are so tight. Overall, we are far below a 10-point average at this stage on these games. at the top of the tables, which you would expect 2, if not 3 or 4 teams to be able to achieve over the course of the tournament. And we are over a 5-point average at the bottom, which is really quite remarkable, which is something you don't see all too often. Nade from Rules out to maybe slow down Alpha 7's approach. DRS, remember, the main threat right now for S2G on the top.
DRS. Something more. Again, like you said, main competitor. But a great nade to start things off. Rules is already down on A7. They don't take a single moment, or at least don't waste a single moment. They'll move straight through. 5 eliminations found for them. Again, it's not done for Alpha 7 yet. Dangerous push from S2G, but they make it. No one takes too many shots over towards them. They waited enough time. There wasn't enough firepower, enough guns looking at them. So when they made that approach,
top second आए नहीं हुन्छ के वो फेरि आन्थ्यो
हैन फर्स्ट मै आउनु पर्छ नि
ल 1 HP मरिगयो
S2G and all 4 of them alive. 9th place for DRS and now Alpha 7 with 5 eliminations, all 4 of them alive, will take up the mantle of the closest chaser in this game. 2 S2G shots from top of Mafioso as he hides behind the wheels, trying to stay hidden. The Axel ricocheting the bullets away. Mythic hops on into the pickup there. And will be alive for the time being, but there's a nade from Geek Fam, and a second as well on the knock from the nade is beautiful. Micah wants to keep it on pouring, and Alpha 7 being torn apart here. Godlike Stormwolf might be able to step up to the plate as the next closest competitor to S2G's top spot. The nades do not stop, and Geek Fam rack up 5 elimination points already, with 1 more soon to follow. That's 6.
Refusing to allow anyone from Alpha 7 to survive this one. Just Carrillo remaining now, looking for those placement points in the smoke, but outside the blue will push him into open ground. It's unlikely that Carrillo stays alive for much longer, and Micah will put him to bed.
Damn rude, actually the one to steal that one away. It looked like Micah had it all lined up, but this is such excellent news for Turkish fans. S2G with 4 teams directly beneath them, all wiped out. They have 4 players alive. They have 6 eliminations on this game so far. They are in a prime spot to take a huge game, so vitally important at this stage.
No matter where they drop out now, I'd say it's a good profit on the game. Even 7th place right now would not be bad for them. For 4 AM, it's going to be pretty rough to profit on top of what they've earned this game anyway. And coming into Miramar's Game 5, I said this earlier today and yesterday, that for S2G, that's a map where they do excel. We saw it on the first Miramar of the day already, and having that in the back pocket for Game 5, this is a place where you can bump up even more points. And 4AM really was suffering on that last Miramar. They didn't get very far. They looked a little bit lost. So for S2G, I'm really excited to see what they can do here. In our second to last angle, to pump up some big points here to secure their position at the top of the table.
Buriram 2 players, Wolves 2 as well. If they fall, that would put you in 5th place, which is desirable for everyone, other than, of course, those 2 teams, but we'll see what can be done. Vampire crunching in a little bit on that south side. They have got the 2 buildings there, and they're pushing in towards Kengzo. DBS in hand for Schwepp, and Fluke actually caught out by Godlike Stalwart. Having some angles there to play with. Nova are clashing with S2G in the meantime, but Razy has some cover to play with. Backs off the high angle peak, but will be very resible for S2G as they play a little small 2-2 split. Nova not wanting to push too far out, but they'll have to regroup and push into the town if they want to keep it on going on that northern side.
S2G, Kelsey very low, Wolves have to move forward. Zone 7 right now, 2 more to go, close to Zone 8. Nova swings round towards some compounds very close towards S2G's position. Very clumped up, so a few grenades could spell doom for S2G. You wonder at this point, how many does Nova still have remaining?
The only Malaysian team here, Geek Fam, have got 9 eliminations now, and it's a team that has fragged out before. See if they can do anything with the 4 players they have on the north side, but Micah does go down. Potential trouble there. Vampire seen, and Godlike Stalwart have been so troublesome on this south flank of Pachinki. an urban finish. We haven't seen it so far. But now Nova, a big test for S2G. Frozen will fall first. The burn from Hamzy is good. It isolates the room and looks to put pressure on Jimmy and Order, one of whom has to leave. Jimmy will be the one to elect to do so. Hops out, and Paraboy on the corner being isolated. There's another player in the kitchen though, and Hamzy could be caught broadside, but he has backup to deal with the threat. Order falls, and now it's just Paraboy at the back. Not too much HP, but S2G have lost 2 players in the midst of the fray. Silas wants the flushes. They want to confirm these points. With 8 eliminations, they'll take what they can get. 6 teams remain, and Paraboy backed off with the burn. S2G, 3 alive, 8 eliminations racked up to 10. They are on double digits already, and with 5 teams remaining, they have guaranteed a bumper game to see themselves safer towards the top.
This is going to be so hard to chase in the next 2 games, regardless of what happens going forward. For S2G, 3 players still going outside the circle now, though. If they can conclude this game in a top 3, the teams underneath them are going to be quaking in their boots because that trophy is going to look so far away. Might need to go to Specsavers just to even have a hope at seeing it.
Godlike Stalwart still have been looking to control so much of the ground here, but My Name P spooks him a little, unfortunately. Doesn't manage to get the better end of the deal. Top will get the flush as well. Kengzo upstairs, hiding in the attic. A monster in his own right. King Kengzo, we called him during the group stages for Buradam. See what he can get done here. Vampire nades over the top, laid into S2G. Silas out the window, escapes from punishment on that one, but that's a lot of damage sent in, and into the Molotov from Schwepp. Has to get burnt down on the cross. The smokes are there, sure, and now it's just 2 players for S2G. 5th place finish, not ideal, but they will take it. 10 eliminations, and it's a big game to put a barrier between them and the teams beneath them. 10 eliminations for Geek Fam as well. But is it time for Godlike Stalwart to stand up?
Vampire Esports as well, off the back of that fantastic Sandhawk. Maybe looking for even more. They did say they wanted top 8 today. I told Sir Tani, get top 5.
He's taken that advice to heart.
He absolutely has here.
And imbued that confidence into his team as well.
A little late though, don't you think?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, really making me bite my fingernails here, man.
But we've seen how tight those points totals are, Blank, and anything can happen. A miracle run for Vampire from the bottom of the tables after match 3.
For Stalwart, maybe even. It's a real chance. I think for Stalwart, this is a big game for them, considering they were one of the closest chasers towards the top of the lobby over than Alpha 7, and they've still got 4 players going. They can rack up some big points here, John. And this is last zone now. This will push everyone in. Pika having this high ground position as well as top is so unbelievably beneficial for them. Anyone who goes onto this open ground, Pika and top, will be able to play off one another to hit them. So really, really good stuff. These smokes are so good though from Geek Fam to get through. Kengzo as well, just blockaded into the attic.
Can't afford to go upstairs though, as Mike is actually ticking away. I think he caught himself on fire. Didn't expect to finish that one out so quickly, but do so they will. 4 versus 4 versus 4. Urban finish in Pachinki. And the nades start to fly. Vampire with 4. Godlike Stalwart on the south side. Schwepp gets caught. U-High is good for 1. A high elimination game for Geek Fam so far. Nades on in from Vampire towards the Godlike Stalwart line. Schwepp repositioned towards to go for the res from Fluke. And Nade not really going to punish it here, but Mike has already taken a lot of damage. Ravenclaw, high ground, on the second floor of the building. Snipes around the corner, sneaks
Stalwart,
back on in. Godlike Stalwart can start to move through in the back because Geek Fam have been punished from the front.
No!
And action is going to start to tick away. Snipes the only one to fall on Geek Fam. Micah has the nade, but floods out the front and right into the sightlines of Vampire. Godlike Stalwart getting cut down, and it's chaos. Another potentially on the cards now as Vampire move in. All 4 of them are alive and kicking, and it is a second game on the cards. They just need the last, and it is Vampire Esports. They have hit their stride. Is it too late?
I don't know if it's too late, man. There's potential here for Vampire Esports. I mean, 2 chicken dinners back to back. If they continue on this rhythm, we say their performance fluctuates. Once it's high, it is so high, and it feels like we've hit midnight right now around Pennsylvania because they are going strong. I am worried for all these other teams because there is a beast in the night and it is hungry. Flashing red.
Okay guys.